All right. Hello, everybody. We're here again today with Peter Brissett from Digital Marketing Dude and 999 websites. So today we're going to talk about a really hidden little gem, one of those things that you never pay attention to, but really need to. So how you doing, Peter?
I'm doing great, Brett. How you been?
I've been good. And this is intriguing me because like I said earlier, this is one of those sneaky little things that no one ever pays attention to, and it's a really nasty little gotcha.
It's a real serious problem. The whole thing with domains and making sure that you have access to your domain. Uh, and unfortunately, a lot of business owners don't know even where it's at.
Right?
Um, it's like if it was a car parked in your garage, right? You could go to your garage and see that it's there. But guess what? A lot of times your domain is not parked in your garage, like it's parked in someone else's garage. And you don't know what their address is.
Right.
So
And how about if they sell the place or it gets repoed or the
I
house gets sold or foreclosed on or whatever?
burned down or who knows what, right?
Right.
Um, I had this situation with a client that he calls me. He's like, "Hey, there's my website's not up. Like, what's wrong?" I'm like, I don't know. So we had started hosting his website, and come to find out, the guy 2 times ago had the domain in one of his clients' accounts. Well, that guy, he went out of business. He quit doing the website biz. He thought he had moved it to another account, and my client at some point thought he had a login somewhere, but hadn't confirmed it or checked it in a long time. And when we moved the site over, I didn't have to access the domain to reset things, so I didn't even question it myself, which I will never do again. Lesson learned. Like,
Right.
full access to the domain or we don't go forward. Like, we got to make sure we have that.
So how difficult and long a process was that? Was that a
It
real
took 3 days. It took 3 days to resolve that one.
ouch?
It was looking like it was going to take 30 days. So this client on the other end had canceled the domain. It still had time left on it. It had not expired, which happens a lot. People forget to pay the domain and it
Right.
expires.
Right.
So you just go renew it and everything's back. Well, this other client had actually canceled the domain, and it just shut everything down. And at first, it took a little bit of work talking to GoDaddy and kind of tracing and talking to the last website person and then the website person 2 times ago to realize that it was an old client of his who apparently maybe he had dated possibly, and there was
That never gets murky.
kind of a difficult breakup maybe possibly involved, and she was not going to help us. And then I started going, look, this is a serious business problem. Like, I'll pay money. Like, I'll pay money to get this fixed. How
Right.
much do you want? Like, this is serious, and the only way to fix it in a short period of time is to have her help and get access to the account so we can move it. So we took then, once we got access, got everything back working, we I had my client go create their own GoDaddy account with their own login so they knew exactly what it was, and then we moved the domain into his account.
So now they know what it is, they know
We know
where it
exactly
is.
where it
Oh,
is. They've got it. They have complete control of it. It's their
right.
credit card that's paying for it, and so it's 100% within his control. Because
So
you know what, I could stop hosting his website. So I'm hosting his website on my hosting account. I could do something, but if he needed to recover that, he has access to the domain. He can repoint that anywhere he wants to, have
right.
a site back up.
Doesn't matter what happens to you if you disappear off the face of the earth, anything, he's still got it.
Yeah.
Now
So
let's back up a bit and talk about what this is, because we sort of jumped in and assumed that people know what a domain is. So now that we know that it's important, what is it?
yeah, I mean, your domain is your address basically on the web. So it's a name really, technically, it's an actual IP address, 100.5.10. Whatever, because it's pointing to a place on a computer somewhere. That's what a domain does.
And then
And
the rest of the
has
internet can find it.
Yeah, and it has an identity to it. So, what people don't always check is, if I do a search, I can go to whois.com, for example, and put in a domain and see who owns that domain.
Okay.
And it has your contact information there. So depending on if you want to protect your information, one, it should be up to date, right? Put information there that's up to date and current. But if you want to protect that, so somebody like GoDaddy, where you can register a domain, has options for privacy settings. So you can make all that data private, so that you don't have that information out public. So that's an option for you with your domain. So you register a domain with a registrar. So GoDaddy does a lot of different things, but one of the things they do is register your domain. There's a lot of places that will register your domain. You could go to register.com. You could go to domains.com. Go to Network Solutions. There's lots of different places that are set up with the international registry and are allowed to register domains for people.
Gotcha.
They may also host websites. They may also host email. They may also do a lot of other things besides that. But that's really a separate category. The two things get connected together.
Okay.
So it's an often confusing thing sometimes, because I'll tell a client, I need access to your domain, and they send me a login to their website. It's like, well, I don't want to edit your website. I don't want to get into the back end of the website itself and change the website. I want to actually get to where the domain is.
So that, I think we've already said this, and you covered it when you talked about having the person that had this problem set up their domain and then gave you access. They still have that. How do you do that? What do you need to do? It seems like a real technical, hard thing to do, but I know it's not that tough.
Yeah. So if you're working with, an agency and they're doing your website, what most of the time I have clients do, I try to encourage people to use GoDaddy. What I like about GoDaddy is you always can contact somebody. They're available 24/7. Their pricing is good on domains. I wouldn't host a website there or do necessarily other things there because I don't think their hosting's that good.
Okay.
But for domains, easiest thing to access, and it's also easy to give someone like me access. So you can go into your account and give me delegated access. You don't have to give me your actual username and password. So then I can access my account, get to your account, change the settings I need to change. And then once I'm done, you can remove that access. Because usually I just need to get in there once.
Right.
Change the settings.
Now, what if you have somebody set everything up? Oh, everything's taken care of. Your website's here. You're good to go. You still need that information, don't you? You still need where your domain is, how you access it. Oh, don't worry about it. I have that taken care of in the package.
No. No, you need to know exactly where that is, how it's set up. I mean, it's fine if you have that, but I would say you need to have some agreement in place on who owns it at that point.
I wouldn't be comfortable unless I owned it.
A lot of times, there are agencies that will say that they own that content. They created
do not like that.
for it, and they own the content. So I make it explicit in my agreement that, your website, your content, your domain is 100% yours, regardless of how it's set up.
Yes,
That
seems to be. I've seen this in the industry in a lot of different situations with Google Pages, primary owner, with websites, as we're talking about with domains, with just any number of logins. Oh, we have customer retention built in, and that's because we own everything. You don't have any passwords, so if you leave us, you start over from the beginning. We control all this content, And that's a terrible way, A, to do business in my book, but B is really bad for the consumer. That's not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of we call it vendor locking, where you're locked into that vendor and you can't get away from them. So there's some intention there. Like I get it. Like you're trying to create a business model that gets you clients and clients don't leave, which is what we all want.
Well, that's great for the business, but we're talking about the client in this particular instance.
What's the right thing? What is the right thing to do?
Exactly.
And that's make sure that you're, I make that explicitly clear. You own everything. If at any point you don't want me involved anymore, we'll move it. We'll set it up however you want, and you can walk away. No harm, no foul. It's yours. And as far, period.
Yeah.
There's no ambiguity there. There's no, same thing if we do some graphic design or create a logo. Once we're done and we give you all those files, it's yours.
Cool. Now,
you have no ownership to that.
Exactly. And I operate the exact same way with Top Hat. Let's take a look, or let's finish up with, I think we've sort of covered everything. Unless you have other things to add, do that. And then finish with, where can they go to look up their domain? Okay, I'm done. I need to go look at my domain and find out.
So the first thing to do is to go to a place like whois.com. So on whois.com, you can put in your domain, and then it will come back and show you where it's the registrar is for that domain. Now, most of the time, that's also where you have to log in to access it, but not always. Sometimes it's a nuance. So if you registered your domain through, let's say, a company like Bluehost. Well, Bluehost, they kind of acted like an agent as the registrar, but they actually use a company called Two Cows that's the actual registrar. So you still have to log into Bluehost to manage it and get access to it, because they were the agent on behalf of that registrar. So that can be a little bit confusing, but that's the first place to check and see. And then obviously go back and look. Where's my website at? Because it could be in the same place. Like GoDaddy, if you're on GoDaddy and you're hosting on GoDaddy, you might be able to log into GoDaddy and have access to your domain and your hosting. They may both be there.
Right.
Could be in different places, but that's the first place to look. Where's my website? Is my domain also there with my website? And do that. And then obviously, if you're working with somebody or did work with somebody,
right?
Where's it at? Like, tell me. Like,
well, and that is the first place to start. But I was sort of thinking more along the lines, okay, they've ghosted me, or they're out of business, or I have no clue and not getting any response from them. So whois.com can really.
Whois.com, and then if you do get and you don't know your login, at least you can go from that, and that'll give you an idea who the registrar is. Then you can go to the registrar website, and you can contact them, and most often they'll be able to help you figure it out. So if you had no access to it, but you needed to prove some ownership of that, again, if your business name is tied to your website, you have business licenses, you have other forms of proof of your business entity, and how you're using the website and the domain. And so you can provide that documentation to them. And then, so it's a little bit of a process, but you can provide that, and then they'll get you access and get you a login so that you have access to the website.
Awesome. Now, if they want to get hold of you, how are they going to do that?
Just visit dmdude.com. Visit the website there. Here, I'll put in this link about our website.
Oops, that's SMDD. That's the one we had last time. But without
that works too. That's fine.
Without the second part there, but DMD Dude.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much, and put that in the link for people to find. And if they need some help, hopefully they'll reach out.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, Brett. Good to see you.
Thank you for your time. Really helpful. Appreciate it.